meeting is being recorded.
Okay. So welcome to this first session of the training for Stars EU. It's a pleasure to having you here and to show you today the onboarding process, what we are aggregating. Also because some of you have already started to send us some questions, so we believe that this training was the most important one. Today the agenda is the following. After my presentation, Leonidas will take care of the presentation, and my colleague Angeliki Tsukanautu will coordinate the question and answer session. I will have to leave a little bit earlier. But my colleague will take care of you. And if you have any other issue, we can communicate also via mail. Um, if you are fine or you don't have any questions to ask me, we can start the presentation with Leonidas. Okay. So Leonidas, the floor is yours.
Yes, Julia. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, for today, I have prepared a presentation for today's training in order to present you details about the aggregation and the OpenAir Provide platform. For the outline of my presentation, first we will see two slides regarding the details about the OpenAir graph and how we built it and how aggregation fits in the OpenAir graph pipeline and how we use it, how we use OpenAir graph to all our services. At the second part, we will talk about the OpenAir guidelines, which are the guidelines for the data sources, the onboarded data sources that need to comply in order to aggregate them into the OpenAir graph. And then we will follow up with the OpenAir Provide platform, which is the platform where this is a platform you use in order to register your data sources and see details about aggregation. And after the presentation, we will also go through a short demo of the platform. So, the OpenAir graph. The OpenAir graph is a scientific, scholarly knowledge graph and provides timely and comprehensive coverage of research products that goes beyond publication. We follow rigorous cleaning, deduplication, and enrichment processes during the creation of the OpenAir graph, the OpenAir graph creation workflow for optimal accuracy. We also have a full text mining in place by creating links of research outputs to projects. We mine author affiliations, classifications, fields of science and technology, and also SDGs. And we have also techniques for the to identify duplicates in addition to OpenAir curation tools. OpenAir graph is robust and open, of course. It is a professional infrastructure. It is maintained and hosted at the OpenAir Technology Center at ICM at the University of Warsaw. And we provide through the OpenAir graph open data. It is open source, and there is the transparent methodologies that you can see and the documentation of at the website of the OpenAir graph. And it is updated on usually on monthly basis. Next, we're going to talk about the pipeline, the production workflow of the OpenAir graph. As you will see we will start from the left which is the content acquisition part, which is the place where we have the data sources that we aggregate metadata records from. There are two big categories for these data sources. First of all, we have the onboarded, we call onboarded data sources, which are repositories, open access journals, open access publishers, registries, aggregators, and CRIS platforms. And we also have examples of aggregators such as Zenodo or Epic Science that all these data sources follow and comply with the OpenAIRE interoperability guidelines, and they utilize the OpenAIRE Provide platform in order to register into OpenAIRE and to be aggregated into so that we aggregate the metadata records into the OpenAIRE graph. And the second category are the so-called instrumental data sources, which are the data sources that we manually harvest. And these are essential data sources to define the OpenAIRE graph's context and in order to have a more comprehensive information into the graph. These instrumental data sources spread through Crossref, DataCite, PubMed, ORCID, DOAJ, we have also OpenAPC, Open Citations, we have several funder databases and in general databases and aggregators that are essential as I have said, to define the graph's OpenAIRE graph context. So after the content acquisition part, we have and the aggregation part, we follow up with the enrichment by mining process, where we also mine full texts, and we provide here several things, as I have already said in my previous slide regarding the relations between the research products. Then we have the deduplication process. Then we have the enrichment by inference. Enrichment by inference, as an example, I can identify if we have a publication and a data set that have the same title and the same authors, then these two are enriched by a relation, a supplement relation. And after the finalization, we have the final product, the OpenAIRE graph, which is a public graph dataset, and it is available also through API endpoints. And it is utilized by the OpenAIRE added value services. Among them is OpenAIRE Connect and OpenAIRE Monitor, of course, for your dashboard, and also it is utilized by third-party services. And through the OpenAIRE added value services, the community, by using these services, and some of the usage examples are the link functionality that is available in Explore Connect, the claim ORCID functionality, the curation in OpenOrgs for the disambiguation of the organizations, errors reporting in the help desk, also data quality issues that are identified through OpenAIRE Monitor platform or through OpenAIRE Connect, and also by discussing case studies in the forum and community calls, of course. We get the user feedback and we process it to improve our data quality in the graph production workflow. For the second part, regarding the OpenAIRE guidelines, I'm sorry, I'm stopping my presentation. Do you hear voices that you have issue hearing me?
No, everything is fine.
Okay, thank you very much. So, the OpenAIRE interoperability guidelines. As a definition, we can say that it is a common metadata framework from OpenAIRE in order to exchange the minimum metadata information. It is based on well-documented and standard existing metadata schemas and also control vocabularies. The benefits of being compatible with the OpenAIRE guidelines for a data source, for a repository or a CRIS platform. First of all, we have improved interoperability, and you can meet the latest IT and repository standards. Your content will be more contextualized with links and relationships to other type of research outcomes and entities, more flexible by using different and improved control vocabularies and by following the needs of the communities, and of course, embedded in the research and infrastructure ecosystem as it is aligned with open science mandates, standards, and support for well-established metadata schemas, namespace abbreviation. Of course, it is the road to fairness, as the OpenAIRE OpenAIRE guidelines are fair by design, and of course, by being integrated, by being compatible with the OpenAIRE guidelines and integrated into the OpenAIRE Graph, you are also integrated into the European Open Science Cloud. Why being compatible with the OpenAIRE, the latest versions of the OpenAIRE guidelines matters? It's a backbone of a fully interoperable open science ecosystem. It ensures metadata harmonization, discovery, and reusability across research infrastructures. You will improve your machine actionable metadata and increase the fairness of your metadata records. And of course, without structured metadata, research outputs may remain undiscoverable. In this slide, we present a brief history snapshot of the guidelines and how they evolved through the years. They started in 2006 as an open access pilot for literature. In 2009, OpenAIRE started functioning as a European project at that time. At 2010, we have the OpenAIRE guidelines for literature repositories. 2012, we have the OpenAIRE guidelines for data archive repositories. 2015, we have the OpenAIRE guidelines for CRIS managers. And the 2018, we have the update of literature, of the OpenAIRE guidelines for literature repositories to institutional and thematic repositories. And at 2023, the latest update of the OpenAIRE guidelines for CRIS managers. Regarding the OpenAIRE guidelines for literature and thematic repositories, currently the latest versions that are supported are the OpenAIRE guidelines version 3 and version 4. The version 3 of the OpenAIRE guidelines are based on the Dublin Core metadata schema. There's a specific set OAI through the OAI PMH endpoint, which is a prerequisite. We will see it in a later slide that must be named to OpenAIRE. We have open access, easy funding, and non-national other funded content. We also have new elements from the previous guidelines to indicate alternative identifiers, relations to other publications, and relations to research data that we have defined in the metadata schema. And we, of course, introduced the Horizon Europe funding program from the European Commission. And the guidelines version 4, they are based on the OAI _OpenAIRE metadata prefix, which is based on elements taken from Dublin Core. Most of the elements are taken from DataCite. And we also utilize a new metadata schema for some of the elements, the OAI_OR. This metadata schema has been utilized in order to incorporate the core controlled vocabulary regarding the resource types and the access rights. There is support for identifier schemes and PIDs for authors, organizations, funders, scholarly resources. Introduction, as I have said, of the core control vocabularies, and we identify open and closed content according to our content acquisition policy. And we have also the OpenAI guidelines for GRIS managers, which are based on the Serif metadata schema. It is a standard for information exchange between individual GRIS platforms, and it is supported by Eurogris. Currently, we are at version 1.2. And of course, we also have compliance with the FAIR principles, not only for GRIS, the guidelines for GRIS, but also the version 3 and version 4 OpenAI guidelines. The OpenAI guidelines have been fair by design. At the beginning of their time in 2006, they had already put the focus on elements that can be found today in the FAIR principles, such as the existence of persistent identifiers or rich metadata. And after community-based refinement and enhancement, which happened over time and is also continued to happen now, because we always work with the community through the community calls, sessions, working groups. We have a specialized working group for the OpenAI guidelines, and they are consistent through the years with the motivation of FAIR. And as I have already said, the FAIR principles, and this is a part of work that we do also in the OS Trails project by building the FAIR validator, the FAIR assessment platform. We have mapped the FAIR principles to the OpenAI guidelines. So the OpenAI Provide is the platform that data sources use in OpenAI in order to register their repositories, GRIS platform, or open access journals or aggregators. It is a one-stop shop where service for these data sources to interact with OpenAI and share and exchange their content. Through OpenAI Provide, we also have the metadata validator, which is a service that you validate your compliance with the OpenAI guidelines. We also have the OpenAI usage count service where you can enable harvesting of views and downloads from your data source, and this will be displayed also through OpenAI Provide, but also through OpenAI Monitor and your dashboard in OpenAI Monitor. And also the OpenAI Broker, which is an enrichment service, and we have a follow-up slide with details about OpenAI Broker. Why should you register your data sources in OpenAI Provide and comply with the OpenAI guidelines? First of all, you ensure that the open access publications from your systems, from your data sources, are accurately reflected. And you facilitate the comprehensive metrics coverage in OpenAI Monitor. For example, the Green Open Access, it's an essential part and to identify more accurately the number of the Green Open Access publication, and by registering your data source, you provide this very important information about Green Open Access and improving the data quality. And the prerequisites in order to register in OpenAI Provide, you have to expose your metadata records via the OAI PMH protocol and comply with the OpenAI guidelines. The OpenAI Provide platform. First of all, we have the metadata validator, which is a service that assess the metadata quality, and you can see the compliance with the OpenAI guidelines according to the version of the guidelines that you are compliant with. After a successful validation, you proceed with the registration in OpenAI Provide in order to be regularly aggregated and indexed in OpenAI. We also have the collection monitor through OpenAI Provide, where you can see the aggregation history of your data source, the collected and transformed records on a monthly basis, and also which version is currently indexed and appeared used by the OpenAir Graph and all OpenAir services. You can track the aggregation state, the aggregation collection mode, the number of aggregated records, and improve the metadata quality. Through OpenAir Broker, you get enrichment information regarding the metadata records that you share and are aggregated into OpenAir. We offer a set of enriched metadata information on scholarly communication data, and we will see it in the next details in the next slide. Through OpenAir usage counts, you can share the usage data with our service, and you can see the details, the views and downloads from your data source. And there we also have a notification service and alerts regarding enrichments through the OpenAir broker regarding errors in the aggregation and other useful information. So the OpenAir broker, the benefits of the OpenAir broker by getting enriched metadata records, we have increased visibility, collaboration, compliance, and also enriched metadata that you can also implement and integrate into your data source. The metadata enrichment categories have additional persistent identifiers for the publications. For example, DOIs, if they do not exist in your records. We have links to projects, ORCID IDs that can be associated to an author, links to open access versions of the publications, additional classification subjects, abstracts that have been identified in duplicate publications, missing publication dates. The metadata validator, as we have already said, the metadata validator assess the metadata quality by measuring the compatibility of your data source with the OpenAir guidelines. You can run the validator tool and you get the compatibility score, and you also get details. We will see examples regarding each element and how many records have passed and failed. And there is a detailed report. And through, apart from the record, the number of records that passed or failed, you can also get indicative links with the failed records that redirects directly to your AIPMH endpoint, so you can see the record with the specific warning or error. Registration in OpenAir Provide. After being compliant with the OpenAir guidelines, you follow a specific process at the first step to register your data source. One of the requirements is to be registered in one of the OpenDOR R3 data or fair sharing registry. And you also add the interfaces of your OAI-PMH endpoint. And after finalizing and accepting also the terms of use and in OpenAir Provide, we receive the request, the registration in the aggregation team. We evaluate the compatibility additionally with the OpenAir guidelines. If we identify any issues, we contact you in order to solve them and be correctly aggregated. And afterwards, we proceed with the aggregation of your data source. In OpenAir Provide, we will see it in action in the interfaces. We have three levels of compatibility stated at the interface. First is the desired compatibility level, which is the one that you select when setting the OAI-PMH endpoint. The current compatibility level is the compatibility level that is returned by the validator tool after your request to register the interface, and the compatibility overrides is the actual compatibility level, which is set by the aggregation team after they also go through the validation process. So what you get, we will also see them live in the platform. You get an administrator dashboard where you can live view important information on your connected repository. You have the validator tool to test the compliance with the OpenAI guidelines. And through this customized portal, you can get detailed user statistic reports. Apart from the charts and the number, you can also get detailed counter compliant with the counter 5 code of practice compatibility. And of course, you will also get the metadata enrichments from the OpenAI broker service. And you can follow up and identify the aggregation history of your data source. So let me go through some websites. First of all, I'm going through the OpenAI Guidelines website. For the OpenAI Guidelines for Literature, Institutional, and Thematic Repositories, and I will go to the version 4. Here you have some information regarding the version of the OpenAI Guidelines, an introduction on how everything is structured, the OpenAI content acquisition policy, and some other detailed information. Afterwards, there are details on the use of the OAI PMH, on how to use the protocol, some general details, technical details, and on the metadata format, the content, and the compatibility of the aggregators. And lastly, we have the application profile, where we have all the metadata elements that are incorporated into the OpenAI guidelines. For the elements, we have 4 levels of cardinality. We have and attributes. This property means that these elements and attributes must always be present and correctly populated in the metadata. The mandatory, if applicable, is when the element, the property exists in the metadata, it must be present and also have the correct, must be correctly populated. The recommended is the cardinality where we recommend to use this property. For example, we have the license element, which is, we don't have it a mandatory element, but it's strongly recommended to be populated from the repository side. And also we have the optional elements, where these elements are not important whether they are used or not, but they provide, of course, complementary information about the resource. And for each element, we have details on how, apart from the details of the metadata element, we have details for let's go through the tile. For example, we have details regarding the cardinality, as we said, it's mandatory, on the definition and user instruction, on the property, the required attributes, which may be also mandatory, recommended, or optional. And we have also example on how to populate the specific element in your metadata record. I won't go through any more details regarding the OpenAI guidelines. Let me go through the OpenAir Provide platform. So this is a central page for a repository manager in OpenAir Provide. In the main page, you can see information about the last collection of records for the specific repository and the number of records that have been collected, the number of enrichments from the OpenAir Broker service, the number of downloads, if this repository has enabled the user scout service, and the number of views, of course. And we also have the aggregation history and a chart, an indicative chart regarding the user count. By going through the view more, we will, regarding the aggregation history, we will go on more details at the aggregation history tab, where you can see the index version, which is the version that currently exists, is publicly available through the OpenAI Graph, because as I have already told you, the OpenAI Graph is updated on a monthly basis. And we also have the latest, the aggregation history regarding all the previous months for a specific data source. I will go to the usage counts service, where you can see some numbers and charts regarding the views and downloads. Here you can see the views in OpenAir. These are the views that have been utilized in OpenAir Explorer, views in local repository, and the downloads in local repository. These numbers are aggregated when you enable the usage count service from your platform. And we also have monthly views and monthly downloads. And through the get statistic reports, we have the counter 5 reports, where you can select, identify details regarding the dates and what types and attributes you need to set in order to get the report. Through the enrichments tab, you can see all the details regarding the enrichments from the OpenAir Broker service. At the More tab, you can see we have this number of enrichments regarding more open access versions of a publication, and by clicking there, we see the details for each enrichment for the publication, and we can see where the enrichment comes from. And respectively, additional persistent identifiers, more links to projects, and regarding the missing information, we have ORCID identifiers for authors, missing project links, additional subject classifications, and additional abstracts. You can register to receive notifications for these enrichments at your email, and there is also a specific process where you can download in total these enrichments if you want to integrate them into your data source. And we also have the Update tab, where we can see the basic information for the data source. At the update interfaces, we have the interfaces that has been registered for aggregation in OpenAir. This is the OAI-PMH base URL, and they are compatible with the OpenAI Guidelines version 4. At the update admins, you can add additional administrators if you want to have access to your dashboard, and the update on terms of use, where this you have already accepted the terms of use and agreed to the reuse of full text or not during the registration process. Either way, you have also the option to update this information afterwards. And we also have at the notifications, you have a list of the OpenApp broker notifications that we have registered to receive notifications, and through the OpenAir, through the validator, you can process and perform a validation regarding the compatibility with the OpenAI guidelines of your data source. You can give here the OAI-PMH URL, select the version of the guidelines you want to be validated. Here we have the OpenAI version 4 for this repository. Some additional parameters if you want a specific set or any or the entire repository. If you want to group the result by specific field, by clicking next, the validation has begun, and when it is available, you will receive, when it finishes, you will receive an email that it has been completed. Now, in order not to wait for the validation that I have initiated, let's go through another one that has already been submitted. In the result analysis, you can see a chart stating all the metadata elements from the OpenAI guidelines version 4 and the number of records that have passed the validation. And afterwards, you had a detailed report for each field and how many records have passed or not. We have details about every field, whether it's optional, recommended, mandatory, or mandatory if applicable. And you get a specific score. This is the score for content regarding your compatibility. And let's go here, for example, we have the creator field, which is a mandatory field. We see that some of the records have not passed, and here we have the warnings and errors. And at this stage, we have an indicative set of 10 links that redirect directly to the repository record and the specific record. It is not found at all in the repository. We are currently working on enhancing and updating the validator service with a new engine where we have more details regarding the validation and the reports. And by this, I think that I will stop for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Leonidas, for this comprehensive presentation and demo and helpful information. I think it's very, let's say, important that we have gathered here. And I know that training sometimes might take a bit of time, especially if it's the first time or like a few times that you've seen this, maybe it takes time to actually, take your hands and, as we say, like do the hands-on work So I would like first to ask if there are any questions from you, from the audience. I see some people that have started already. Jan or Jan, I see Daniel has already also raised his hand, so I'll give the floor first to Daniel and then to Jan. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Maybe let me again say hello to everyone. Let me also remind my position here because I'm the leader of the Work Package 5 of the STARS EU project, the campus, and our work package is responsible for
Victor, posso
implementation.
ligar para estou numa reunião? Pode ser?
Uh,
Obrigada. Obrigada, até já.
And I would like to maybe stress the implementation point of view and maybe ask you to give us like more detailed like onboarding guide how to proceed, because last time we met in the beginning of December, like it's 2.5 months ago. During that time we established the working groups, and on December we also agreed on the like several steps to do, like to refine the data sources, organize the sessions with individual universities and so on. But we haven't moved so much since the December. So my perspective is to get open air functioning as soon as possible. And in that way, we would like to have some very practical guide how to proceed at each university to get every university at the relatively similar stage, and how to make ourselves prepared for future training, because the working groups that are here are at the first time here, and they are responsible for both. They are responsible for implementation, and once everything is implemented and once the open air for STARS-EU is ready for use, these working groups will be also training our staff at our university. So before we go into much more details, I would like to stress this implementation phase. Maybe the friends from the partner universities will also have this kind of request to implement as soon as possible, because time is moving on, and we are still at the very, very beginning.
Thank you, Daniel, for this. And I see Jan has already unmuted himself. So before responding, I think he wants to comment on that. Jan?
I completely
Not
agree
really?
with,
Okay.
I completely agree with Professor. Open air seems really complex, really useful, but it's quite difficult to start. And my question is quite practical. Hypothetically, if I have a research article ready for publication, could you please explain or tell me where I can find some step-by-step workflow within OpenAIRE? I have administrator access, but I'm not really sure how to start to get familiar with it. If you know what I mean.
Yes, definitely. And thank you for this. Immediately, I will give the floor to Leonidas, and I think this is the right way to do so, because you said we are a complex organization, but what we are really interested in is how to streamline this process for you to make it easy, that it's understandable, and you can do this yourself. So it's kind of as Daniel, I think, said, somehow train the trainer concept. So we try to train you, that you train your colleagues. So Leonidas, would you like to take up?
Yes. First of all,
sorry, if I can just add one more remark. As far as I understand, today or the days before, like all of us received the manager role in the systems. So we are now at the very beginning. Since this moment, all of us can do something actively in the platform. Yeah. So now we need the practical steps, what should be done at each university from step 1 to step, I don't know what's the number, to get ourselves at the position when you can individually with each university run a configuration session and to make sure that everything runs perfectly at each university. If everything is done at the alliance level, and once we are sure that everything works well and is implemented, then we can start the phase 2 and try to train with individual parts and elements of the system and try to learn people how to use Connect, how to use Monitor, how to use Graph, and so on. So this is the process we would like to have.
Clarify.
If you have any other
Yes,
opinion
yes.
from partner universities, just let me know. But this seems to be very practical and logical.
Yes, definitely. Please, Leonidas, I leave
Yes,
this
thank you very much,
floor.
and we completely agree with you. And this is what we started today. This was a training. First of all, you have all received invitations to become managers and see the Connect Gateway and also the Monitor dashboard. These are services that exist and will provide information even now when you sign in and when you see the dashboards. The part on registering for each university, and today I was expecting technical persons from each university, from the repositories and the CRIS platforms. This part on registering them into OpenAir, it's very important to improve the data quality that we get on the that you will have on the dashboard and also in the Connect Gateway. And this was a start today to give some details regarding the platform and how a repository manager, a data source manager from a university can work with us and will work with us in order to register, to comply with the guidelines and register their data source. And after this training, we can also perform individual meetings and trainings with all the repository managers.
Yeah, fine. I understand. Maybe just give a better picture even. We are one alliance, but 9 universities are at different stage of open science and principles implementation. I'm from the Silesia University, and we haven't done anything in this field so far. We don't have any own repository and so on and so on. I think that UIMD from Albania is in a similar stage. Different universities are in different stage. So now we would like to just have very, very practical guide, onboarding guide, what must be done first, second, third, and how we can learn to do this kind of steps and make sure that till the half of March, all the universities are on the same starting line and everything has been done and our open site.
Regarding
Yeah.
regarding the repositories, it's we could provide some information and also from the community and also from other universities that work and we collaborate with that have working repositories, and you can discuss. We can put you in contact with these universities in order to see the workflow and how they use the repositories. But this is a very complex thing that it's not driven by OpenAir. The repositories and the CRIS are platforms that are built inside the universities. We can, for the universities that do not have repositories or CRIS, we can put the relevant people in contact with universities that currently work and have such platforms. University of Minho, for example. And they can help you in utilizing this service. Again, it's not mandatory to have it for
I
the
know.
dashboard, but it will provide more qualitative information and will also help your university and your library on the open science aspect. But this should be done at the university level. It's not something that we design it.
Yeah, I understand. But it would be very great if very appreciated from our side to have these kind of like prerequisites or something we must be done, which must be done at each partner universities till some time, and then we can to be prepared for the full implementation and full use of open air services. Yeah, because at this beginning, I don't know how much of us, but some of us definitely feel a little bit lost in this process.
I think, Leonidas, what would be helpful and useful in that case is to break down what you mentioned about the data quality. And this might also help the colleagues here. And Katarina, I see your hand raised.
Yes, I have a
Please-
question. However, if I interrupted you,
No, you
it's
didn't.
okay, just go ahead.
We just try to pull everything now
Yeah,
and
because,
understand your needs, and we
yeah,
understand it's
because-
not everything clear, so we needed to discuss.
Yeah,
and
actually,
help.
at the Krakow University of Technology, we have different situation. I think it's a bigger, let's say, problem. However, here also is my colleague Marzena in this meeting, so she can interrupt any time. However, I'm just a data steward and the librarian here at the library at the Krakow University of Technology, and I'm just taking care of institutional repository we have. However, we have a repository of data, research data, and this is Broadbook Open Research Data Repository, and it's already we got a Core Trust Seal certification, but we are just one from 9 institutional collection at this repository. So we are using Dataverse, open source, and actually we are in the middle of registering our repository in OpenAir. However, there is a problem with aggregator because we have this kind of model of repository. Then we decided to create an aggregator, and this aggregator has this certification. So we decided to register in OpenAir our aggregator. However, there is an error in the code by Harvard Dataverse, and we are waiting for them to fix this, to get our data and metadata into OpenAir. So this problem is very complex, and we are waiting still on the information from Harvard Dataverse. So this is one thing. So it's not very easy, let's say, because there are more parties involved in this issue. But again, my question is because the other thing is we, as a Poland, we are creating an EU node for IOSC. And the memorandum of understanding was just signed last month in January. And our repository is registered already in IOSC.pl, so it's EU node for Poland. And my question is it shouldn't be like the other way around, and how it's going to be, as repository of the research data, we will be in IOSC.pl in the EU node, right? But Polish node. However, in the same time, we are in the process of registering in OpenAir. So
Okay. Yes, I understood. Let me answer you
Okay.
regarding this. And this is also something that we are working on IOSC Beyond project with pilot nodes there. The process of registering in EOS Node is a process to register as a service and as a data source, but the process for the research products to be integrated into EOS Resource Hub is through OpenAir. You have to register via OpenAir. We aggregate with the process that I have described. We aggregate your data source in OpenAir, and afterwards we connect and transfer the research products to the EOS Resource Catalog. This is the process.
Okay, so it should begin.
EOS Resource Catalog does not aggregate metadata records. They
Okay,
get
so it
these
should-
records from
Mhm.
OpenAir Graph.
Okay,
from OpenAir.
it should begin in the OpenAir
Mhm.
registration. Okay, fine. So this is clear because I'm just collecting all messages from all the people involved in also in EOSC in Poland. So this is kind of confusing sometimes. But anyway, regarding our registration in OpenAir, this is the situation we are currently
Mhm.
managing. So as Daniel previously said, it would be great to have a meeting like one by one institution, I believe, with you to connect from the technical point of view, because we have different situation at the different universities. This is my
Yes.
opinion only.
Yes, I agree, and this is the plan to follow after this initial presentation and training.
Okay, thank you, Katerina and Leonidas.
And also,
I
Jan
see
had a question.
about yes, exactly, about the publication, Jan, right?
Jan,
I would just
if I
maybe
remember, you asked if that you have a publication, that you have a paper that it's ready to be published, right? Well, for this part, the workflow to follow, it's not through OpenAir. We can provide maybe through our training platform ways that you can follow how to publish your paper. If you want to follow to publish it open access or closed access, the publisher, how to select the journal, but it's not a process that it's been incorporated through OpenAir.
so. I see that the time is we're running up a bit. I was wondering whether we could address one, two issues that were raised about, for example, the data quality or what, like Leonidas, if you can say a few things, and then we are quite ready for our next meeting or the challenges to be compatible with OpenAir. But this is only if you have a few more moments to stay here.
Maybe I will be again repeating ourselves, but is it possible to prepare a checklist for each university? I mean, the general checklist, which will be submitted to all partner universities. What should be done? Like connect your repository to OpenAir. Is it done? Okay. And these concrete steps and contacts to whom the problem should be raised at each partner universities if it's not working, if it's not done, if we need some help, and maybe set the deadline for this preparatory phase, what must be done at each universities. And once we are sure that all universities met these criteria, and we can talk a little bit more in detail and solve the details, then we can have these one-to-one sessions with each partner university. Is it possible from your side?
I think we can.
Uh,
I see a lot of people
we-
doing the thumbs up, but Leonidas, please.
Of course, we can do it, but we would also like from your side details regarding the stage that each university is currently. For example, you mentioned that there are universities that do not have repositories.
Yeah, and this is something that
We
must
need,
be
yes, we
must be
need
decided at
these
this.
details from your side in order to prepare what must be done or not. Currently, the dashboard is ready. Afterwards, regarding the data quality, one important step is to register any data source that is available in the universities to OpenAIRE, whether it is a repository, a CRIS, or an open access journal. We can prepare these bullets, but if you give us the list of the universities that do not have a repository, this list will be more comprehensive.
Mhm.
We will put a bullet say that you have to create a repository.
Okay, so can we start like this, that each university should write a very short message about the current stage to Leonidas, to Julia, to Angeliki, and
Yes.
you will prepare like the tailor-made bullets
Okay.
and for each university? Could it be like this? Because each university has a working group, each university can decide who will be the main contact person, and this contact person will prepare like the description of the status quo of the current stage at the university, what kind of help each university needs, and this will be sent to Leonidas, Julia, and Angeliki, and you will communicate with this contact person, one contact person from each university, on this basis, to get things done and to help with these initial steps.
So let me put this. So we first need to answer some questions to OpenAIRE, and then OpenAIRE can give us the checklist for onboarding.
Yeah, this is what I understood. Yeah.
Yes, I can write an email.
Can OpenAIRE give us those questions that we need to address?
All right. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, what kind of information is needed? Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So if Angeliki prepares something like summary from today's meeting, there will be the most important information you need from us, and the next step will be that contact person from each university will be back to you with the answers and description of the status at each university. Yeah.
That's very, very good, Daniel.
Okay, and then we try to do this as soon as possible. Maybe by Monday next week, or by next week, or even Friday this week. No, it's not possible. Oh, okay. I thought someone was like nodding negatively. So we try to do this as soon as possible, and then you'll get the checklist from our side.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Very good.
Yeah, super. And if you have some learning materials you can recommend, it will be also great to have the links in the summary email after today's meeting, so everybody can log in and learn what is necessary. So this would be also
yeah, we do have learning materials, and we'll definitely share them with you. That's for sure. Also for the next training that will be on. We are inviting you to join the community call on Connect, which is happening on the 3rd of March. So you can click on the link I'm sharing you on the chat box, and the community call serves as a way for the community to be updated on the new functionalities, to learn from similar cases and discuss challenges, for example. So you're all invited to join this. It's not too technical, so it might go a bit on the technical side, but usually it's not too much. So it's going to give you a nice idea also what other colleagues from other countries and the cases. So on the 3rd of March, we'll be presenting the SciLife Lab monitor platform. So you will have the chance to learn more. So if you click on the link on the chat box, then you will be able to register on that. And if there are then no further questions, then we can close off the meeting. And I'll send you the summary and with the links, and then you will need to discuss with your own group and send us back the status, the state that you all are with regards to the institutional state, and then we'll provide you with a checklist. And I think we are in agreement on that. And then I see Daniel, he's on the phone, but if there are no other questions, then Bob, you have a question? No. So then, Daniel, we're just saying that if there are no other questions, then we will proceed accordingly. And we'll see each other soon. I will email you with the information needed. Okay? Then thank you for being here, and we'll be in touch. Have a good day.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
and see you.